have you heard about this Rafael Devers character? I think we brought him up a couple of weeks ago.
I did get to see him play. I got to see him play 2 weeks ago.
As a member of what team?
The Red Sox.
The Red Sox. He ain't there no more.
No, that's what I heard. That's an interesting story.
Interesting story indeed. All right, let's get it started. Devers, we heard he had problems with the front office from the very beginning of the season. We'll talk about who's at fault. I still think that the Red Sox are a bit at fault for the way they started this whole thing off, but they ended up trading him to the San Francisco Giants. They got back a bag of balls because the Giants decided, hey, we're going to pick up this entire contract, which is awesome for the Red Sox. They don't have to worry about, eating some of that for a malcontent player, so that's good. But they didn't exactly get anything back. What did they get? Kyle Harrison and a bag of balls, and Harrison.
Kyle Harrison. They also got the starting pitcher. Oh my God! How am I brain dead on this? Oh my God! Who was a turn to reliever? I'm dying on.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation actually.
I've been still thinking about a 12-year-old baseball that I'm just not thinking about. Give me like half a second, I'll get it.
He was traded for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, and James Kidd
because he's on the IL. That's why it was like I'm like Jordan Hicks, right? Okay, yeah, Jordan Hicks.
Hey, I'm actually wondering about this. I never really realized this part. There's a guy named Jose Bayo.
Yes,
that. Got. Is that? I wonder if that's if he's related to Brian Bayo.
I do not believe they're related because I was reading about it several different times and I never saw anybody saying anything. But yeah.
So there's nothing going on over there. But the bottom line is they didn't get any, impact players over there. You got some guys who could be good, but you look at the last 3 monster trades with the really big players that the Red Sox have had. You're talking about Bogarts, you're talking about Devers, and then you're talking about Mookie Betts, and they didn't get anything for those guys. The best guy they got was Benintendi, or not Benintendi, excuse me, Verdugo. I mean, they've had no. I'm not going to say luck. They've done nothing well when it comes to trading for these players. It's actually kind of pathetic if you look at how much the Yankees gave up to get Soto, how much the Nationals gave up to get Soto. And then you look at this guy who's a $300 million player. He's a great hitter, and you got nothing back.
Okay, so there's a couple things. One, the Bayos are not related at all. 2, they didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. That one was related to Scott Baio. My mistake.
Yes, definitely not. They didn't get as much back as you would imagine. But you're dealing with a player in Devers who wanted nothing to do with Boston, and everybody knew it, and they knew Boston wanted nothing to do with Devers. So when you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with that size contract, you're dealing with a whole lot of other issues. Basically, teams are viewing it as an opportunity to sign a free agent. Okay.
Yeah, but
so what is the chance of signing a free agent worth to them? Because there's no different than a Xander Bogaerts that went on the deal on free agency, and they just get an opportunity. They just get it. So they're paying for the exclusive rights to negotiate with this. That's the way I look at it is. And so if I'm Buster Posey and I'm the front office of the Giants, I'm telling Craig Breslow, I am paying for the exclusive rights to negotiate for this contract. That's it. It's like dealing with Japan. So
it's kind of different.
Not really. That's not what it is. You're just dealing with the exclusive rights to pay to have that contract. Nobody else gets the rights. So the exclusive rights for him are worth a very big signing for the Giants 2 years ago. In Hicks. You're obviously dealing with the other starter, the number 4 prospect, I think is number 4 prospect in the Giants organization, and Bayo. And so that's what it was worth on the open market. Said, okay, we're going to take this contract, we're going to take the $30 million, whatever, the $300 million, and the rights to do that are worth why. I actually think this was a good deal for the Red Sox. I like the deal for the Red Sox. If you take Jordan Hicks, move him back to the bullpen, and he becomes like close to what he was with the Cardinals, You just got a monster in the back of that bullpen. You just got your closer. You've got your dude. Aroldis Chapman is having a comeback, incredible season at the age of 37. 13 saves. He has a 1.45 ERA. Your setup man, Garrett Wilcock, has a 2.89 ERA. Your other guy, Greg Wisser, has a 2.65. You have 2.1. You have 3. You have a bullpen. Now you're about to have a excuse my term, but a brick shit house bullpen. You're about to have the bullpen of the league, and you might even be trading Aroldis Chapman anyways. So you're about to have a bullpen built for future runs. And if to me, Jordan Hicks is not a starter anymore, move him to that bullpen. Plus, they have a rotation. You've got Crochet, you got Dobbs, Bayo, Giolito, you got Walker Buehler. You don't need more arms in that rotation. Plus, where does Hicks even fit? Like, are you going to put him ahead of Walker Buehler? Statistically, yes. In reality, no. Giolito, no. The statistics are the same, but Giolito's dealing right now. Bayo's obviously a huge part of your future. Crochet is the future of the team. And then you got Hunter Dobbins, who is young, just came up, but like he's pitching great. So he has nowhere in the rotation. He gets healthy with his toe. He comes back in the back of the bullpen, and you just have right now, you have the best rotation in the AL East, if not in all of the American League. You just got the best rotation in the American League. And what you got rid of was the migraine in the back of your head that you've been dealing with since spring training, and who's probably has always been a migraine for this team and been a problem for this team. You just didn't hear about it. Because these type of things, and when you have a player that all of a sudden will not move from third base to DH, even though you're arguably the worst third baseman in all of baseball, worst third baseman for sure last year in all of baseball. And then you won't move from DH to first base when other players on the team are verbally saying, I'll move. And other guys that are better than them and defensively are saying, I'll move. That doesn't just happen. That headache's been there. It's just maybe not like poked publicly, but it's there. And when you have a guy like Jarren Duran's basically just throwing him under the bus, saying, it's just the guy who got traded. We don't care. Like, we need to keep moving. And again, Jarren Duran is also maybe a little bit on that side of, I don't care. I really don't care. It could be anybody. But this seems to me like a team that looks at that and says, we're better without the migraine.
I cannot disagree with you more on so many of your points. Let me just get started. Here, number one, you talked about having the exclusive right to negotiate with the player. Well, the negotiation already happened a few years ago when he signed the free agent deal. So there is no. The fact is, the Red Sox had a lot of other GMs
did that. What players did they get when they got that? What players did they receive from themselves to do that?
Just let me go with this for a second. Give me a moment. So, a lot of people are pissed off with the Red Sox because they didn't even know that Devers was available. They just went over there. And to me, if you're giving up a top 20 player in baseball and making your team significantly worse offensively, I want to at least go to every other team in baseball and talk to them and see what I can do. Now, do I think a lot of teams...
We have heard reports that other teams knew they was available.
There were a lot of reports that a lot of people said that they didn't know that he was available, that it happened way too fast.
There was no actual reports from teams saying they were available. It's just publicly we didn't know he was available. That's the only reports we've ever heard. Publicly, we didn't know he was available. Privately, teams have come forward and said, yeah, we know.
Okay. Number two, you're talking about now you built up this really great bullpen. Okay, fine. Yes. A bullpen is very important to have. But did your team get closer to winning the division by trading him or not?
Yes, I actually think so, yes.
I think you're completely crazy if you believe that.
If you don't understand the dynamic of a clubhouse, you're crazy. The dynamic of a clubhouse, you need 26 men and a staff and a front office all moving in one direction. 25 men were moving in one direction. One man was pulling them down like a parachute.
Agreed. Okay, fine. But a lot of people, including the manager of that team, who is now, there are a lot of reports that there's rumbling between Craig Breslow and Alex Cora, and I am completely on Cora's side, that Cora is saying, wait a minute, we're supposed to be winning now, and Breslow is saying, no, I'm here to build this team for the future. So now you got a big problem over there.
I think the problem more is on Alex Cora. Alex Cora's never won. He won his very first year taking over somebody else's team, and you have a manager that is quickly approaching 500 as a career record. And if you take away his first year, is well below 500. Telling me anything, I don't want to hear it. Like,
but now you got to
don't talk to me when your career outside of 1 year is below 500.
You have.
Sorry, I'm counterpointing here.
And that's
I
fine.
like
That's
Alex
what you're
Cora,
supposed to do. That's the whole
Alex
point.
Cora is one of the best managers in baseball, but like at some point,
I know you're playing devil's advocate.
Realistic about it.
Yeah, it's totally fine. But here's the thing: from the very beginning, this was a problem made by Breslow because he didn't have the foresight to go and talk to his star player that he signed to a $300 million deal and saying, hey, listen, this is what we're thinking of doing. Are you okay with this? You deserve that as the face of the franchise.
I've got no argument there.
Okay, so all this could have been very quickly solved if all he did was say, hey, what do you think? And if he said, you know what, I don't know about this, I like playing third, maybe you don't sign Bregman and cause this problem. Maybe you realize, oh my God, I have a player who destroys other teams at the dish, sucks at third, but destroys other teams, and we're going to need him for the long haul. Because guess what? Now at the end of the year, you're talking about building a team and making it better. Now you don't have Devers. At the end of the year, you probably don't have Bregman because you only signed him to a 1-year deal. And you're going backwards. That's my big problem. This team was good enough to beat the Yankees. All you had to do was calm down this situation with Devers somehow. Now, if you couldn't do it, I totally understand, but you got to do better than that. Eat some of the contract, get some big players back. Something. And then this whole theory, and I don't know if you read this, that they traded Devers because the ownership wanted to buy a soccer player for their English soccer team. No, that's not happening.
That's East Coast media. That's Boston, New York media trying too hard.
Yeah, that's garbage. Believe me. If
they just want a sound quote from somebody having to answer that question.
Yeah, that's all it is. So I think this.
All I know. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're tied for a wild card, and we haven't heard of their names in the playoff conversation in a long time. It has only been a couple days, but they're tied for the wild card. Like, this team is now, in the first time this year, going in the right direction.
But you made a point. It's only been a couple of days since he's been gone. The reason why they climbed back up into that wild card is because Devers was hitting the cover off the ball.
No, he wasn't. Not at all. Not at all. Over his last 7 days, Rafael Devers is the 179th best hitter in the league.
Dude, he's hitting 272 with 15 bombs.
Look at his last 7 days. It's 0.0 something.
Okay. Yes, his last 7 days, and right before that.
But that's what you're telling me is like over the last 7 games, and he's only played 2 games in San Francisco. So over the last 7, when they were winning baseball games, he was his worst.
Yeah, but before
when they were winning, he was his worst, and when they were bad, he was his best.
What did he do against the Yankees when they swept the Yankees last week?
Well, let's look it up.
Okay, please do, and we'll see. You tell me.
Now we got to do it. Now we got to look while we're talking.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know me. I can talk all the time.
Worse than trying to look on Bing.
Well, you shouldn't use Bing.
Well, no, I have to use Bing because my Firefox doesn't allow me to look at some certain stats.
Oh, well, that's garbage.
Yeah, it's a pop-up menu that they block. But you look at Google, immediately type in Devers, and it's MLB.com Devers, so you can look at every single stat. But you look at Bing, and Devers doesn't even show up. It's the weirdest thing how that doesn't even work. So let's look at this because I actually don't have the exact numbers. Against the New York Yankees, 1 for 4, 0 for 4, 1 for 3.
Okay, yeah, he didn't have the greatest, but what has he done?
He had total bases. He had 4 total bases because he hit a home run, but his stats have done nothing but go down. And then he had the first game. He had the first game with the Giants where everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's so great." He was 2 for 5. Then he was 0 for 3. I'm just saying, over the last 7 days, when he was supposedly playing his best, he was actually playing his worst. And again, it's 7 days. It's a major league season. 7 days is absolutely nothing. 7 days is like the equivalent of 1 drop in a water bottle.
Yeah.
So, I get it, but the team was so bad even with him playing well, and he has had a very good season. And Craig Breslow has not handled this right in any sort of manner at all.
He should be fired
until God no. But until he traded him, trading him was the best thing he did. And I actually believe the teams that he actually, I don't think every team knew that Devers was available. I don't think, because that's pretty normal. But I also understand Craig Breslow and the Red Sox are finally doing it right. It shouldn't be public that Devers is available. It shouldn't just be a giant thing out there. God no, because Devers doesn't even know he's available. He should not even know he's available. The Major League Baseball, he shouldn't go call the Angels and call everybody and just go, he's available. Well, guess what? The very first thing is going to happen. Devers is available. Craig Breslow is such a joke. He should be fired immediately. No, you call the teams, you call the places where you want the deals, and you know the players that you want, and you try to go get that deal. And then he did, and he got the deal. He felt like it was the best deal. There was other teams that knew, and they didn't have a good deal. And he ended up getting a deal that they thought was available, and the best deal again. But yes, they made the choice with him several years ago. They traded Mookie Betts. They got rid of Xander Bogaerts, and they chose Rafael Devers to be the future of their franchise. Mm-hmm. That was not Craig Breslow. They also, when they chose him to be the future of the franchise, didn't realize he was about to be the worst third baseman ever. So when they signed him, they thought he was actually going to be a defensive standard third baseman, and he's horrible. They were not signing a DH to that contract. That's the Devers problem too, and that's on Devers. And then when you sit there and you have to take over that contract, that wasn't your contract. Like if your uncle or your other uncle down in Philly took this contract over and he traded Devers, would you ever even question it? You'd say no. Dombrowski's doing what's best for the team, but everyone looks at Craig Breslow and goes, "Oh, he's doing what's worse for the team." If Dombrowski would have gone, "Dude, it's a bad deal with a bad player who doesn't want to be here," you wouldn't even question it. But I understand it's a first big move.
But he's not a bad player. That's the thing.
But no, what I mean is a bad egg. Like, he's a bad guy in the clubhouse for the Red Sox right now. That doesn't mean he's a bad guy. In the Red Sox clubhouse, he is hurting them more than his stats are helping them. There's a famous saying with the All Blacks down in New Zealand: "No dickheads." No dickheads. The All Blacks, actually the most famous, probably sports team in most successful sports team in all of sports.
I have no idea.
Exactly. You should look that up. The All Blacks.
I will.
They are incredible franchise, and they have a famous saying: "No dickheads." It does not matter how good you are. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest player in the world. If you're a dickhead, you're not allowed in this clubhouse. Well, Devers became a dickhead. Get him the F out of that clubhouse.
I guess they're not going to be signing Trevor Bauer anytime soon.
God, no. He's a dickhead. Don't sign him. Like, and Craig Breslow is upholding what most teams should be upholding. You become a dickhead, get the hell out of here.
I agree with you.
We can get 26 guys here that'll play together. Do the Rays need a Rafael Devers? No. Do the Red Sox need a Rafael Devers? And they've got more talent than the Rays. No. Sometimes
but you know who does?
One person pulling the wrong way, and it ruins the whole team.
But you know who does need a Rafael Devers? A Pittsburgh needs a Rafael Devers. Yeah. A Seattle needs a Rafael Devers. A Baltimore needs a Rafael Devers. And they have assets that are better than what you just got.
That doesn't mean they would move them.
Doesn't mean that they would move them, but who knows if those conversations needed to get...
Who knows if they didn't happen? Some good GMs actually don't tell people that those conversations happened.
All I'm saying is Kyle Harrison better become a damn good pitcher. And how do you make damn good pitchers, David Ardsma?
Top Velocity Pro.
Top Velocity Pro. So if you're the Boston Red Sox, if you're Craig Breslow, and you want Kyle Harrison to be good, don't sit here and send them to your staff. God knows you shouldn't send them anywhere near the Dodgers team. Just send them to David Ardsma so he can be the best pitcher, best player. No dickheads allowed. Top Velocity Pro.